Picture this. It's 2003. Think with the VMAs, okay, the Video Music Awards, 2003. What happened? We had 50 Cent winning the award, a VMA, and who's presenting it? Puff Diddy, P. Diddy. You know, he's like, come on, Playboy, 50 Cent, and 50 gets the award. Peak of public cordiality, if you will. Don't even fast forward, just forward like 2 or 3 years later, VMAs 2006, and this track's been playing for a while. Yeah, remember the bomb from 50 where he insinuates that Diddy knows who killed Tupac and who killed Biggie? And like I quote, man, Puffy know who hit that. And now fast forward, present 2025, 50 announced like this docu-series about Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, to Netflix about all the allegations that are in there. News coming out that Netflix even said, hey, you only have 4 episodes here. So the fifth one apparently coming out on YouTube, pushed out by 50 himself. So, wow, wow, wow. Sawadee and welcome to another episode here for the Funky Pods Mindful Media and Communication. I'm just laughing because I'm not sure how mindful this all is, what 50 is doing right now, but it's definitely communication, and that's why we have to talk about it. So, how do we start? Because there's so much to unpack. Like for 20 years, this whole thing that's been going on right now was like an open secret, and it's crazy to say it's been basically 20 years. Yeah, a few that's played out mostly with diss tracks, IG trolling, vodka commercials. But now the federal government is involved, and all of a sudden that feud, that beef becomes so real, and the man who's been playing the Joker to Diddy's Batman now somehow is holding a camera. Interesting times we're in. And so today we are talking about more than just a rap battle, a beef, right? We're talking about how 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson turned a 2 decade long grudge, like 2 decades, into a Netflix original series. We're looking at like sociology. Okay, so why is it happening? We're looking at like that spectacle. What does it do to us? Why are we so into it? We're looking at the weaponization of social media and what happens when culture's biggest troll, 50, becomes somehow its most reliable narrator. Yeah, for 20 years we thought, 50 just trolling, and now it's like, damn, he was right all along. Insane. So, next 20 minutes or so, grab your popcorn and your Effen vodka. This is Reckoning right here on the pod. So, foundation time, okay? That's where we talk theories, okay? So let's get ready. Let's look at the anatomy of like this 2 decade long grudge, okay? So the origin story goes like this, right? They've never been friends. They've been co-workers at some point, right? So the setup is they started in the 90s, right? And 50 Cent even ghost wrote for Diddy early on. I wrote it down, the verse on Let's Get It, for example. Okay, so they've been collaborating, co-working, if you will. And eventually, though, people try to make him into friends or whatever, or enemies later on, but 50 was always like, well, the vibe check doesn't really work for me. He always saw Diddy as a business person who exploited creators, right? Not a friend, co-workers at most. And he recounts a story of Diddy like offering to take him shopping, which gave him, quote, weird energy and made him uncomfortable. And that's the seed of the outsider narrative that 50 has been cultivating ever since. He's like, I've never been part of the group. I always found it weird. I'm an outsider. And we know from media studies and from communication studies that, group thinking is very important. We have in groups, we have out groups. And if you see yourself as someone in the out group that doesn't belong to that group, you're like, okay, that in group over there, they're the weird ones. They're the bad ones. And I mean, 20 years later, he was right. All right. But like group dynamics, very important when it comes to communication, how we perceive ourselves. Eventually, then, of course, their co-working, their coexistence hit some escalation points, right? So let me get the dates. In 2005, 50 claims that Diddy blocked the rapper Mase, who had a cool song together, by the way, from signing with the G Unit, by demanding, like, again, checking the stats, a crazy amount of $2 million for his contract. So 50 called Diddy a sucker, quote, for all of that. And so then that's where, also makes sense, right? You have businesses growing next to each other. Of course, you're kind of like confrontational. But then in 2006, the feud goes way more nuclear because 50 released The Bomb, right? The track that implied that Diddy was involved in the murder of Biggie. And he actually explicitly dissed Diddy, and I again have to look at the notes so I don't make this up or get it wrong. He referenced the white parties and he rapped, "I don't want to hang out with your punk ass, no way." So is there a wider way to say that, of saying that? But I'm doing this because, as media studies people, we look at like how do they say that and what do they mean by that. So with saying that, he is like in media studies, we call it the moral opposition. Now, he's not the most moral person in the world, clearly, and who is, but he's positioning himself as the opposition to that crazy, weird corporate thing that Diddy has going on that's all weird about exploiting people and throwing those weird white-ass parties. Okay, so he's positioning himself as the opposition. Okay. And then it doesn't stop there, right? You remember if you're Gen Z, you don't, but remember the mid 2010s, the Vodka Wars. Insane. So, because that's where the feud becomes purely commercial eventually, right? So 50 launched like Effen vodka, and as a direct competitor to Diddy's, and I look at my notes again, Cîroc, whatever, right? You know what I mean. And the beef becomes like a marketing campaign. And every insult is an ad for Effen vodka. So that's just like been playing out for basically 2 decades, right? Just back and forth, going at each other and so on. Diddy trying to be like, I don't care about him, but 50 knows he's under his skin. So that's been going on for almost 20 years. So now, which theories do actually relate to that? And the one that fits the most, we talked about this before in the pod, but we have to talk about it again, is Guy Debord, The Society of the Spectacle, because we are all wowed, enamored by it. We're like, damn, I can't believe what's happening, right? So the concept, one more time, is that modern life, the way we live it, is not about direct experience, but about the representation of experience. Okay, so do we really go do crazy stuff, or do we just experience it through others? So social relationships, how we relate to other people, that's mediated by images. So if I see you doing cool stuff, I think, damn, you're cool. If I see you doing crazy shit, I'm like, damn, you're crazy. If I see you going like on amazing trips, I'm like, wow, look at this, look at where you're going. And then I feel like I experience something too, because I experience it through the images that you're sharing. And images could be anything: text, pictures, videos, you name it, right? So anything that gets me somewhat immersed. All right. So that's what we consider the society of the spectacle. Our society wants to see spectacular things, not necessarily doing it themselves, but experiencing it through others. Okay. So when we apply this to what's happening right now, 50 versus Diddy, the whole feud became a spectacle. We all like, hey, what's going to happen next, right? So we liked it, we consumed it. And it wasn't a private fight. It's like, public entertainment content, if you will, that Vodka War was just the perfect example for, right? You have the product that was the conflict actually. And so now, 2025, the Netflix stock is the ultimate commodification of that, right? Because everyone's still aware of it. We grew up with like 20 years of beef between them. So we're like, yeah, of course it's happening right now. And of course we're interested. Of course we want to see it. So it's the fall of an icon packaged as premium streaming content. And we're okay with it because we've seen the beef for 20 years. We heard 50 talk about it on different talk shows, always with a smile on his face and like, I'm not serious, but actually I'm serious, right? And serious he was. Secondly, so that's the society of spectacle. Second theory, we call it a sociology of what we call the open secret. Yeah? So the concept is that everyone in a community knows, but no one publicly acknowledges it. Often due to power dynamics. Do I even need to explain? Right, for years and years and years, rumors about Diddy's behavior, the quote, weird energy at his parties, those video events, and of course his very exploitive business tactics and practices have circulated in not only the hip hop community, but everywhere, right? 50 just kind of like branded himself as the only guy willing to speak out about it and to say something about it. So he was the only one that said the quiet part out loud because he wasn't afraid of business repercussions, creative repercussions, artistic repercussions. He was like, I don't care. I got all my stuff settled, right? So he wasn't just trolling. For years we thought, oh, Diddy is just a funny troll. But he was signaling that he was outside of Diddy's sphere of influence and power. Like Diddy can't touch me. That's why I can troll. That's why I can say the quiet part out loud. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying, because come try to get at me. Right? There's a famous quote that it's not from 50, but it would fit here. Your arms are just too short to box with God. I don't know why I thought about that, but that's probably how Diddy must feel right now, right? So when those federal charges dropped eventually, 50's 20 years of trolling were recontextualized as truth-telling. So he wasn't just making fun, he was telling us what's happening all along. And he was right, he was right, he was right, he was right. So now you wonder, what else was he right about? And let's dive a little bit deeper into like what 50's role actually is, because he's basically the narrator of the collapse of Diddy, right? And this signals a crazy power shift, because before Diddy was the gatekeeper, Diddy was the guy, right? The mogul at the center of the hip hop industry. 50 was the outsider throwing rocks like, hey, you suck, hey, come on. Yeah, throwing rocks at a throne or at the castle. And they would just, ricochet off, who cares? But now, with Diddy facing all those charges and, being away for a while, not long enough, allegedly, his power is shattered, right? Diddy's power is gone. And so now 50, in the meantime, has transitioned into this successful TV mogul, content mogul, whatever. He's everywhere, right? Giving interviews on ABC, which is also another power move, of course. So the power universe changed. Yeah, 50 playing the long game again. And while we're at it, it's not just the media empires. He's also, of course, weaponizing social media to an extent that's just amazing, because his IG trolling was relentless. And you're like, okay, it's funny. Then after a while, you're like, come on, 50, it's enough now. It's enough. Like, come again, 50 again. But now you're like, damn, yeah, good on you for not stopping, because you are telling the truth. And he used humor, he used memes, he used news, screenshots, everything he could to keep Diddy's alleged misdeeds in public consciousness. He wouldn't let anything go. Yeah, he wouldn't let the news cycle move on, what happened so often. So he was really good at making sure we will always remember. We're not letting go of it. So every post about Diddy's legal troubles, 50 was there. Victory lap film, but also 50 in the comments every single time. So he positioned himself as the person who like knew it all along. And the ultimate power move, right, then came, of course, now with that Netflix documentary. Yeah, it's like the FU to Diddy. Because he's not just commenting on his downfall, on Diddy's downfall. He's producing, he's producing the definitive narrative of Diddy's downfall for the whole world to see on the world's biggest streaming platform. He's not just narrating the story, he's producing the story. He's controlling the story. There should be a documentary about 50 bringing this all together. That'd be awesome. He has stated that proceeds will go to support victims of sexual assault, which is amazing, of course. So which adds another layer of moral high ground to it, right? So it's not just like I'm taking your money, I'm taking money from your downfall, I'm making money from your downfall. I'm actually helping others that need help. So your downfall is helping those in need. This is crazy full circle moment for the whole story, for 50, for Diddy. Everything and everybody caught in between, and just shows that playing the long game pays off in the end. And that's just something that I think we're not appreciative enough, not aware of enough. Because right now we are always going for instant satisfaction, instant success. We want things right now, right now, right now. And 50 was like, I know what I know I'm right. And I'm not letting go. I'm not being distracted. I'll stick to my guns. And eventually, it's going to pay off. And pay off it did, and it does. So, to recap, right, I'd say that this whole thing, it's a story about power. It's just how power shifts. It's a story about branding, right? How do you position yourself? It's how the digital age that we're in allows an individual with lots of help, of course, but to dismantle a legacy through persistent public warfare. And you would think Diddy is bulletproof. Diddy thought he's bulletproof. And 50, with lots of bullets, proved he's not. Right, so 50 played the long game. He turned a personal dislike into a lucrative, sure, but also into a cultural defining narrative. And the whole hip-hop culture is changing because of that. Just imagine the impact Diddy had, and now this all is being rewritten. It's crazy. So we're watching the documentary produced by a man who has hated the subject for 20 years. Is it journalism? Is it revenge porn? Or is it just the inevitable final act of a culture that's consumed by spectacle? And so the line here between justice and entertainment has never been blurry, of course. And 50 Cent's holding the remote and having a really good time. So, what do you think? Is 50 Cent the truth teller? Is 50 Cent the ultimate opportunist? No offense to Edge, the R-rated superstar. Yeah, how do you feel about it? Does this intervene with how we think about Diddy? Is it fair? Should there be more about it? Do we need 50 to look into the Epstein files as well? Let me know, shout out in the comments, because I'm very intrigued. I'm very, yeah, I think intrigued is the best word. I'm intrigued to see what's happening, what's coming out of this. Do I like the doc itself? I think, I don't know, it's very Netflix-y, so make of it what you will. Do I like that something like this is happening? I think that's probably a good thing. Do we need more of that? Who knows? So shout in the comment, what do you think about 50? Should he do more? Yeah, should he get his hands on Epstein files, on whatever else we need clarity about? Until then, stay safe, take care. If you can, take the moral high ground and don't piss off 50 Cent. Sorry, you can't.